So good morning and good afternoon. It's great to have people from all over Canada here.
This is the overview. We won't spend much time on this. Let's go to Avenue. Some of you asked questions. You didn't know what Avenue was. So what is Avenue? It is IRCC's new National Settlement Language Training Learning Management System. It's been in planning for a number of years, and it's a very exciting session for me as after all this planning, I get a chance to finally have introduce Avenue to the end users. Avenue is for both English and French settlement language training. Unlike EduLink, the site includes a web portal, which all users will log into, and from there they will be able to access the LMS and other IRCC national projects, such as Tutela. The portal is going to include training materials, custom web applications, including what everybody has been asking for a number of years, an ePortfolio. And now the question is, why Avenue? One of the frequent questions that was asked in the registration form is, why do we have to leave, why are we, what's wrong with EduLink, you know? Why do we need to use Avenue? Well, it's true, EduLink has stood the test of time. We've been using it for over 6 years. It definitely needs a fresh look, but more importantly, it needs to do more. The Avenue LMS will run on the latest version of Moodle, which will include new activities such as the workshop module and improvements to existing activities such as H5P and the glossaries and the games module. Better support will be available for PBLA as more content becomes available within Avenue, and it becomes more aligned with the new curriculum being developed by another national partner. I don't have much information about that, so I hope you don't ask me questions later. Avenue will offer more tools to administrators and teachers, including a user account manager, giving teachers control over their course enrollments, the student accounts, and making it easier to move students between classes. So no longer will students get a generic number, and nor will teachers. Avenue will be more secure than EduLink, and it will have better support for M-learning. So the next up is timelines. Planning for Avenue has been going on for several years. In fact, going back to, I think, 2015-16 is when the idea of National LMS first was being thought of by IRCC. Development began more than a year ago, and it was followed by a carefully designed work plan, and we were ready to start piloting in March. Suddenly our plans changed, as did everyone's, as the pandemic disrupted link classes. It also disrupted our Avenue work plan and timelines. The need for remote and online learning spiked in link, and since mid-March, our team's primary focus has been supporting the EduLink Learn IT to teach users and community. We have seen the use of EduLink grow by more than since early March. Check out these graphs. I'll just show you a few graphs from the statistics block on the front of the EduLink site. Anyone can see these. So the blue lines show the total visitors per day on EduLink from February 26th to March 25th. The valleys or dips are the weekends. The rises are the weekdays, Monday to Friday. The first 4 weeks, we averaged typically, which is pre-pandemic, about 1,000 total visitors per day. The fourth week dipped. I think that was March break. But then in late March, we see the spike on Edulink. So it's almost doubled to what we'd seen before. Now here's the next graph, which is March 17th to April 16th, and it shows the dramatic rise. The total visitors more than tripled from the middle of March until the middle of April. And then we look at this one, and it continued to spike. We reached 7,000 total visits by mid-May, or in mid-May. This level of traffic has continued into June, when it started to drop off as programs begin to shut down. So keeping up with the demands of teachers has kept our developers and mentors very busy during this time. So this change in priorities for us slowed down the development of Avenue. So our revised timeline. We're pressing on with our plan to make this available for teaching starting in September. Our original plan was to close Edulink completely to classes and move everyone to Avenue in September, but that's just not feasible at this point. So that has been pushed back to January 2021. Teachers, you will be able to continue using Edulink until December with your classes, but we hope lots of teachers will make the jump with their students and go to Avenue in September, but it may not be suitable for everyone's schedule and timelines and training. So this is our revised timeline. Avenue will be available to the community on August 17th. We will contact teachers who've completed the that request form that we made available earlier this week, and teachers will receive their user account and course migration, information about their migrated course. You may use the form you can use the form to request an Avenue account and to identify courses you would like moved to Avenue, and when you would like those courses moved, or when we should start working on them. Information about new teacher accounts will be emailed August 17th. And the courses will be available at this time. Also, at that time, an orientation video will be available to all teachers using Avenue. This orientation will help make the jump from Edulink to Avenue, pointing out differences and new features. The new Avenue line training for stages 1 to 3 will also be available when you start to access, or when teachers start accessing their courses on August 17th. ePortfolios will be enabled at that time, along with a training resource. Now, we really feel that the orientation video should be enough to get teachers started on and you won't have to redo a lot of training, although you'll have to learn a few new features. So September 1st, the account manager application will be available. This tool can be used to set up student accounts, send their login credentials with help with passwords, and enroll and unenroll in students in courses. And through the account manager, you'll also have access to the student ePortfolios. The ePortfolios will not be part of a course. The ePortfolios will reside outside of courses. So as students move between courses, they don't have to start a new portfolio. They keep the same one. I'll show you what we've done so far with the ePortfolio. In fact, it's quite limited at this point. A learner orientation will be available by September 1st. This video will help learners find their way around the site, and it will be especially helpful to learners who previously worked on Edulink. It will highlight the differences. Course delivery can start in September. During the time between September and December, the Avenue request form will be available. New accounts will be set up for teachers who are holding back switching to Avenue, and we will continue to migrate courses. Development of the portal will continue, and improvements will be made to existing features as we get feedback from the users, from the community. All teachers on Edulink will receive a user account by mid-December, and on December 23rd, that'll be the last day Edulink can be used for teaching. We will migrate the courses in late December for teachers who want to use the same course in January 2021. So January 4th, Avenue replaces Edulink. Edulink will continue to be available. I think this is important to know. It will be continue to be available to teachers so they can access the course materials during the first 3 months of 2021. Learners will no longer have access to Edulink. Courses will continue to be migrated as needed. I'm not sure how much migration we'll need to do during that last quarter. And on March 30th, Edulink will be retired. So what do you expect from migrated courses? There are some important things teachers should know about migrated courses moved from Edulink to Avenue. And I'm sorry, but it's not all good news. It is pretty good news, but not all good news. Everyone on Avenue will receive a new, more secure user account. So the teacher 2837 or S6,430,000 will no longer be used. So S is for the students and of course the teacher accounts. Teachers will be using their all users will have to have an email address. And because of the change in accounts, when courses are moved across, all user data will be lost. So the content will not change though. That was asked a few times. So if you've created activities, those activities will remain. It's just enrollments, form postings, gradebook scores, questionnaires, database activity records, and even glossary entries are lost when Edulink courses are restored on Avenue. But I think it'll be worth it in the long run, that's for sure. One other drawback when a course is migrated is some of the learner support files, such as a few of the Using Link courseware pages and the help block files reference Edulink. Our plan is to fix these support files for you, but teachers will have to fix the glossaries that they need. There are a lot of glossaries, I think, that aren't being used, so we're not going to go in and restore the glossaries. We will, however, provide a help file for teachers to restore glossaries and any other fixes that may be needed. There is a glossary repository in the Avenue file picker for this. So it's just a matter, basically, of importing an XML file into the glossaries, pointing to the repository. Teachers with custom glossaries, however, will need to move them from Edulink to Avenue yourselves, and we will explain how you can do that. The Avenue Courseware, so this is for new, if you request a new course. It's much the same as the EduLink courseware, except it has been updated for Avenue. References to EduLink have been removed from the support files. And one, I think, positive difference is the new courseware will include the PBLA modules that are currently available on EduLink. So they will be put in your course right from the get-go if you request a new course. And the new site is actually a lot more mobile friendly. More activities in Moodle 3.9 are supported by or will support mobile devices. What about the training? The training, of course, will be aligned with Avenue. It will be, we're removing any references to Moodle 3.1 or EduLink. We also continue to look at ways to make it more supportive of PBLA and online delivery in general. One change we're going to do is teachers in stage will need to create an online assessment task, which until the pandemic, really, I don't think many teachers were using EduLink for assessments. Certainly the courseware didn't have any assessments, but the PBLA modules do. We'll need to iron a few things out, but we hope teachers still using EduLink will change to Avenue when they move from one training stage to another after September. So if you're sticking with EduLink and you want to finish stage 2, that's not a problem. But when you go to stage 3, we would like you to try the Avenue version of stage 3. It may not be practical to move your EduLink course at that time. We appreciate that. So we still have to think that through. After December 2020, the training for EduLink will no longer be available. One of the things that we've learned as a result of so many new teachers enrolling in EduLink because of the pandemic is we've seen a lot of teachers struggle with our training and teaching online or remotely because they lack digital skills. This wasn't a problem before the pandemic, as these teachers could avoid technology, but it has put an extra burden on the teachers and on the mentors. Mentors trying to get their digital skills and help them improve their digital literacy. Fortunately, the mentors have risen to the challenge of helping these teachers. To better assist these teachers and the mentors, we are creating a digital skills course for teachers we'll call Pre-Stage 1. And as for Stage 4, we're going to worry about that in the fall. We'll move that over. So what's in the pipeline? The Avenue site will continue to be improved between September and March 2021, and actually our agreement with IRCC takes us right through to 2025. So we'll be working on making improvements and responding to the community throughout this time. New features that are coming, though, this fiscal year will include a storage area for teachers to collect Tutela materials and add them to their courseware. So when teachers log into Avenue, you will also be logging into Tutela, and there will be an interface between the two. More PBLA modules will continue to be created. I know CCLB is working on modules. We're working on modules as well, although we've had to kind of slow that down for this Avenue migration and the pandemic. We also plan to commission a custom Moodle mobile app for Avenue. So we're going to try and do our best to make sure Avenue works well on the app. And finally, an automatic course builder will be available. This is especially useful, it will be more useful when there are a lot more PBLA modules and online resources. Basically, what it means is teachers will be able to browse all these different modules, put them in a shopping cart, we'll say, and organize them into a course, and then request a course based on their selections. So instead of getting one big course with all this content, some of which you would never use, but you just keep it hidden, you will have your own custom course. So now let's answer some questions. Now this question was the biggest question. What is the difference? Oh, typo. Between the two platforms. Let's look. So I'm going to switch over, I hope successfully, to Avenue. Can you everybody see this portal? Or Paul, can you see the?
Jim, if I may, you need to close down what you have first, and then open up a new one for Zoom. That's how it works.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yes, correct. So go back to all of us with our the gallery, and then you close down what you have, and then you share a new screen.
Jim, when you share your screen, if you select the first one in the top left, it'll be either entire screen or screen. You'll be able to move freely through tabs and different PDFs and stuff, and we'll see everything.
Okay.
So click on the green share screen there.
Yeah.
And then you should have an option like screen or entire screen. Top left beside whiteboard, iPhone, iPad.
Oh yes, desktop one.
Perfect.
So okay.
Just be careful though, because now we can see everything, eh?
Okay. I'll hide my silly photos. So you can see now, Paul? Avenue?
Yep, looks great. Looks great.
Okay. Thank you so much. So this is the entrance to Avenue. So this is the portal. First big difference is you don't log directly into the learning management system. You click log in. Now I'm going to log into as an administrator, so it'll be a little different than what y'all see.
I'm sorry, there's some birds. There's some birds chirping in the background. Could somebody mute their microphones, please?
Okay. Okay, so I've logged in. You wouldn't see this black bar at the top. It's for WordPress. So you'll see these 4 links. So there'll be a links with links that we think are relevant. Logout, Binder, Desk, and Classroom. Now I'm going to click on Binder. Binder is the ePortfolio. So when I click on the ePortfolio or the Binder link, I get presented with what looks like the actual binder with flip pages. So it's organized like this, and then the My Portfolio section will have tabs for the various speaking skills, or sorry, the various language skills, and other tab. It will be similar to the binder. So we figured it would be easier to adapt from the physical binder to the portfolio back and forth, especially when things resume to blended learning. Teachers and students will be able to upload their own activities directly, and also there's going to be a system that will collect artifacts from their courses automatically. So if you create an assignment, and then in the assignment, if you tag it ePortfolio and with a specific skill, when the student submits it and when you exchange the feedback, this will come into into that tab. So if it was a speaking Poodle task, and they would get the rubric perhaps directly into their portfolio. I can't show you, obviously, and there's lots of work to be done on this, but this just gives you a sense of what the portfolio is going to be. I'm going to go back out to the main portal page. Desk is something for the teacher. This will be the storage area. And if I click on Classroom, so learners would click on Classroom, and then they're brought to the Avenue dashboard, which looks different than the EduLink dashboard, but the functionality is quite similar. One of the differences would be there's no blocks anymore. So no blocks on the right side, on the left side. The blocks appear one on below the other. And over here, we have the navigation drawer. So the navigation drawer opens and closes this way. And then you've got the different access to courses, the calendar, private files, etc. over here. I'd like to hide this, but okay, in the top right corner, you have your notifications. That will notify teachers if a student has submitted an assignment, for instance, a questionnaire. And this is one of the big changes is there's no longer a messaging block. Now messaging is done through a messaging drawer. I think it's quite similar. Actually, it shouldn't be difficult to adapt to it, but this is how it works. So if I had a message, a red bubble would appear with a number, depending on how many messages I had. Recently accessed courses, so this is at the top of the dashboard. Students will click on the dashboard and then their course should appear here. So I'm going to jump into a course and show you. This is a Link 3 course. See, it's very much similar. There are blocks on the right side, but you cannot add blocks to the left side. So it's much easier to make your screen bigger. There's also, you cannot dock blocks either. There's no way to dock blocks. The action menu here, so instead of having the administration block over on the left side where you choose turn editing on, the edit settings page, etc., import. This is all done in this nifty little menu here. So that's one of the things teachers will have to get used to going here. So all of these functions are basically moved from the administration block to over here. I can turn editing on just to show you. So I turn editing on and it looks much the same. I add an activity or a resource and it looks pretty similar. And the settings page and everything would be much the same as EduLink. there might be more options in a few cases. The courseware will come with a big blue button, virtual classroom already installed. If we looked at the toolbar, you can see the toolbar is a little different. To expand the toolbar, it's an arrow going down, but it's more modern. There's also a voice recorder built into the toolbar. It's very similar. I don't think it's going to be a big adjustment. The adjustment will be getting used to the new applications on the site or on the portal, like the account manager, the ePortfolio, and so forth. So I am going to go back to the presentation and go through a few questions. So this was a question that was asked that I thought was important. I think I've answered many of the questions that were that came up. So what will be provided instead of the big blue button? Actually, big blue button is going to continue to be the virtual classroom. How many breakout rooms will it have? This will not change, although I know there's an issue we have, and that is there's only, big blue button only allows so many breakout rooms across the server at one time. We're working on a fix for that. I don't know why they do it that way. Next question. If teachers ask for a migration in December, when will the migrated course be ready for student use? We would get it ready as soon as possible. We will make it ready for January. We're working on some scripts to help automate the migration across from Edulink to Avenue. This question's a good one. Will teachers have to add, remove students, or will we be able to have administrators handle that? Well, the way the system is designed is it's for teachers to have control over the registration and administration of their course. I know with another project we work on, some of the schools provide an administrative assistant to help with that. That is kind of outside of our realm. We'll provide the tool. I don't think teachers, our experience has been teachers haven't minded this extra work because it gives them a lot more control over their courses. They can enroll and unenroll, and if a student loses his password or forgets the password, they can provide that to them. Will we be able to see reports about student activity on the system, such as their login dates and times? And actually, I probably didn't need to put this on Avenue, but yes, you can, and you should be able to see that now if you go to your, if you look under reports on your, in your administration panel on Edulink, administration block. Will I be required to retrain for the new platform? Well, you'll need some training just to get up to speed with the new tools. The storage area, you'll want to learn that so you can save time. If you'd like to use materials from Tutela now, soon you'll be able to just put them in your storage area, and that will be linked to Moodle, to the LMS. You won't have to download it to your local computer and then upload it. Or will it just be a lateral change with minimal training involved? I think in the case of Moodle, it would be a lateral change. There will be some training required for the portal. Will activities created or uploaded be region specific? And how will Avenue support the teachers with resources? Resources are the missing item, and we know that. We really understand that. The first question, I think, all of our resources that are shared will be, that we are sharing, will be available on Tutela. So that is the sharing site. How will Avenue support or how will we get more resources? Well, we are developing new materials, new content, as is CCLB, and I'm sure there are other organizations as well. So as long as we're all using the same site, sharing it on Tutela, we'll have a forum similar to the EduLink Teacher Forum. Unfortunately, I know that question was asked, I think in the EduLink forum, will the forum be moved over? Unfortunately, it can't be moved over. Well, it can, but there won't be any content. So we'll leave that open, but we'll also create a new forum for Avenue users where teachers can share ideas and resources. Now, this is a good question. Most students will use their phones. Will there be videos that show how to sign in, etc., with a phone, especially for lower level students? Initially, probably not. Our priority is going to be to get everything ready as quickly as we can. We have updated the Courseware help block now, so we've added more tutorials into it. But phones aren't going to be one right away. I also think that I'd just like to comment. I know a lot of students, that's their only lifeline to their courses, is using the phone, but it's going to be difficult. It is difficult for them, like to do create artifacts and do a full course on a phone. Typically, a phone is used, like we did a presentation at last fall about M-learning, and we suggest the phone be used more for supplementary activities, not for everything, and that's a problem. Not much we can do about it if students only have access to their course through their phone. This one, will the use of Avenue be mandatory for all SPOs? That was asked several times, and I can't answer that question. Not that I'm trying to avoid answering it, but that's a decision by IRCC. I think the more people that use Avenue, the better. In the long run, it will create a bigger community and more resources to be shared. Okay, so for the last 15 minutes, that's the last question I took from the forums. Paul, are you getting questions posted, or does anyone have any questions?
There's one question that did come up. I'm guessing the answer is no, but will there be IRCC funding for training? As in, will the teachers be able to get paid to do the training stages? I answered in the chat, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's between your service provider and IRCC. I don't think it certainly wouldn't be like a whole training stage to adjust to Avenue. We'll have videos, and we'll do our best to minimize the amount of time required. So we'll also have just-in-time learning resources available on the portal. There'll be training resources, so when you have a question, you can look there. Live help will continue to be available.
Another question that came up, Jim, if I may.
Yes, please.
Teachers were asking, and again, I believe the answer is that to add teachers, like say you're on holidays and you want to add a teacher to your course, that teacher would have had to have done the training, correct?
Yes, yeah, at least to stage 2, so they can manage their course, find their way around the course better.
There's a lot of questions pouring into the chat now, Jim. If you want to look at the very bottom end of it,
Okay.
will assessment validity be addressed on Avenue? I guess that's the question of how do we know who's doing the assessment when we're working remotely?
Well, that's a good question. I think the assessment has to be designed to, I mean, it's not only a question for us, it's a huge question. Wasn't there an issue with medical school having security issues? I think in our case, these are low stakes assessments, you know, compared to what universities do, but the assessments should be ideally designed to make it difficult to cheat.
There's another question that keeps coming up as well, Jim, about if people are in stage 1 now or in stage 2 now, they're asking, should I stop and wait or should I carry on with learnit2teach.org right now?
If you're already starting a stage and you have time over the summer to work on, say, stage 2, for instance, or pre-stage 2 and stage 2, if you're in it already, I would probably continue with it. If you haven't started a stage and it's not difficult to wait, you might want to wait for Avenue. But like you could do pre-stage 2. I think someone asked me this earlier, and maybe in a forum. If you've started stage 2 in the summer, there's no reason why you couldn't do your practicum on the actual course delivery on Avenue. You might have to tweak your course in August to get it ready, but actually I think once you know how to edit the course, do those basic edits like add a URL, add a file, post to the news forum, etc. It's really not too time consuming. It's if you've gone ahead and added a lot more complex activities, then maybe you'd want to, instead of getting new courseware from Avenue, you might want to request your course be migrated.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Jim. There's another question about tailoring the look. Can individual service provider organization change the look, like adding their own logo, for example?
The site is organized much like, so if I go, I'm just going to go back to the site here. I'll go to the dashboard. And then to the site home. The site's organized much like the others. So there's categories by province. We've added a new category for Learn IT to Teach because this is where the training will reside. So when you won't have to have 2 passwords or 2 logins to do the training once this is up and running, to do your course and the training. Within these courses or these categories, we could certainly think about how you could, if you had your own organization. Certainly in the course you can do that. Maybe a subcategory for larger organizations we could accommodate for some branding. You would manage your own subcategory.
Thank you. Another question. Someone was planning to start stage 3 this summer, but now that she's going to wait, when will Avenue training be available?
August 17th. That's the target.
Excellent.
So
And
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. A lot of teachers are also asking about time. Will the stages of training be longer or shorter or the same?
They should be the same. I think stage 1 might be shorter, actually. We're going to reduce the video, the slideshow at the beginning. Try to make it more aligned with PBLA and modules. Paul, you're working on that, so you'll have a better idea. But otherwise, I think that
I'm doing that this afternoon, actually.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Otherwise, the stages shouldn't be much different.
Okay, common recurring question on the live help as well, Jim. How many hours does each stage of training take? Would you like to address that, or do you want me to?
Well, I think I can base it on the certificates. The certificates, I think, give, is it 20 hours, Paul, for stage 2?
That's right.
25 for stage 3 and 30 for stage 4. It's really difficult to nail it down. Like someone who's technically savvy could probably do stage 2 in 10 or 12 hours. You know, that would include the practicum. And similarly, somebody, you know, doing it stage 3 may not take 25 or 30 hours to get through. But teachers who aren't as technically savvy may have a lot of other skills to brush up on. So that would take them longer. We kind of use a ballpark figure. We've averaged, and if anything, I think we average on the high side. Certainly pre-stage 2, since we added the attendance activity module to the course, I've seen most teachers finish in under 2 hours, 1.5 hours, and we, I think, give 2.5 hours of PD credit for that.
Thank you, Jim. That's fantastic. I think we're caught up on the questions here. There's a few that were already addressed that people can watch the webinar to see when we release the recording. And just to check, you'll still need to get to stage 2 to have a class on Avenue.ca. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, but you don't need to get an account. You can request an account at any time.
Excellent. This is fantastic. And another recurring question, Jim, and one of my favorites, are we going to have more of these webinars over the summer?
We will, but not until August, later in August. They're all archived. The 20 webinars are archived, so you'll be able to go back and review those. Our plan is to redo the webinars so they're specific to Avenue.
That's fantastic, Jim. I think we're caught up on chat questions here. But I'll tell you what, there's just a ton of thank yous pouring in. Jim, I think Rob might be still in the room. Everybody who makes this happen, teachers, students across Canada, thank you so much. This is fantastic. The new site looks amazing. It's just a whole bunch of praise pouring in right now, Jim.
Well, thank you for your help, Paul. And if there are no more questions, thank you to everyone for attending. And,
can I ask one question?
Yes.
I've noticed several people in the chat wanting confirmation that their own preloaded material from their course will be part of the migration.
Yeah. That's Pamela, is it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, of course. Whatever is in your course, except for the data, the student data or user data, will be migrated. So if you have created a quiz or different activities, when the course is migrated, all of these activities will be moved to.
I had a quick question. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I completed my stage 2 and I was just about to start my stage 3. I was wondering if I should, I'm free during the summer. Should I continue with stage 3 in EduLink and then, or just hold on and start with Avenue?
Well, that's a good question because you have time. The thing is, you've got time to keep working on stage 3. So I would probably say work on stage 3, but you won't be teaching your students at that time. You'll be just.
Yeah, I don't have my students at that time.
Much of the training that's for EduLink is very applicable to Avenue. It's just a more modern version of Moodle.
Okay.
You could set up your course and we could migrate it, Selma, in August, and then you could carry on with stage 3.
Yeah, because I feel I have the time now during the summer, and then it'll be hopefully a smoother transition into September then.
That's a good thought, I think.
Okay,
And
thank
you'll
you.
have, if you have time in August too, I mean, that's important, you know, that when you come back and when it's available, you can brush up on the changes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you, Paul, for your assistance, and thanks to everyone. So again, post any questions in the forum, and I wish you all a good summer.